Hello everybody, welcome back to Nuke Shot Media and the Capital GT Championship. We're here at Mount Panorama for round 6 of the season, kicking off the second leg of the championship, the second half. 26 laps, 100 miles today, looking at some great weather and some great photos courtesy of Jack Wilkinson, of course, our cameraman. Big up. Relatively small entry today, unfortunately. Several people unable to attend, but that means that all the positions are for higher stakes and higher points. So keep an eye out for that. Of the entries we do have, there you see Joe of the Fire, our championship leader. They have been having a fantastic season so far. They're looking very strong in the championship. They're hoping to continue that run of form. Mauro here as well, driving for Capital. Of course, fellow member of Team Simpact Racing, but driving for a different team here. You might actually see there's a little bit of Team Simpact pattern at the bottom of that Mercedes. Nice little touch. I think that was the livery they ran in the ERF 24 Hours of Nürburgring. Nils also here. They're driving for turn 1 by the looks of things. Interestingly, not officially on the entry list. Oh no, they are. If I click the document, it gets them all up. So they're here. Rare appearance from Nils, but they are here. Number 62. Might be their season debut even. So we'll see how they do in that Subaru. Taters, of course, series organizer, driving for Team Taters in the Nissan GTR with the special Godzilla tribute livery of the Nissans of old that ran here and dominated the scene. We've got Dashi for the home team of Nuke Shot Motorsport. Number 47, looking for a strong showing here, get some more points on the board. We've got Emilius also for turn 1, so 2 cars for turn 1 here today. Good to see. Our safety car driver, of course, Mythical Triangle, who's just reset to the pits. And who else do we have? We have Banana Josh here in the Capital Lamborghini. one of the few mid-engine cars that's here today, so we'll see how that goes. And I believe that is the entire grid. Yep. So that's everyone that's here at the moment. We're currently in practice. We're 10 minutes away from the start of qualifying. Qualifying will be a 10-minute session. There's a relatively long lap here, and not much margin for error. As you can see, Maro scraping the outside wall. Tricky places to overtake on the top of the mountain. Really, you want to be getting your moves done going into the chase, that chicane, towards the end of the lap. And maybe into the likes of turn 1 and the last corner as well. Griffin spend another decent opportunity, but pretty single file for a lot of the mountain section. A lot of these drivers, we thankful that the mechanical damage is off for this particular series, as there'll be quite a few cases of damage, I'd imagine, if that was on, just from the circuit itself. So a lot of respect needing for the circuit, and also the drivers that are taking it on today. Let's go over the points for today. 1 point for fastest lap, and 1 point for pole position, which will be decided in qualifying not too far from now. 18 points for first place, 15 for second, third place will get you 12 points, fourth gets 8, fifth gets 6, sixth gets 5 points, seventh gets 4 points, eighth gets 3 points, ninth gets 2 points, and 1 point for 10th place. So everyone here is pretty much guaranteed points. If it's an 8-car grid, then it's a minimum of 3 points. Seems that Xerxes team may have just joined the lobby, so that's another car. The more the merrier. It's actually turned out to be a somewhat decent turnout in the end. Glad to see. Hopefully no technical issues for people. Here is Xerxes making their way out on circuit in another Nissan GTR. The Firestone number 7 of Team Taters. Currently fastest lap in practice is Joe of the Fire, our championship leader, with a 201.825. And I've just realised I haven't done an audio check yet, so I'll do that now. Yep, seems everything is A-OK. Hello to everyone that's tuning in. Be sure to leave a like and consider subscribing if you're enjoying the coverage. And as I mentioned, the championship really heating up now as we're into the second half of the 10-race season. The event sponsor, again unofficially, but for this particular week, it is the Bathurst 100. So the circuit sponsoring itself, makes sense. Beverage of choice this time, it's a shandy, which is a combination of lemonade and beer, for the uneducated among you, which is probably quite a lot. Tater's about to serve a penalty. This could also be crucial. There's one section in particular through the downhill S's that you can get a penalty from cutting too much, even though it is quite, effective in terms of saving time. But it's yeah, that's something to look out for. Can't cut that too much. Taters and Nils only separated by 7 thousandths of a second according to this. So it could be quite close between those two in qualifying. We'll see how that goes. Dashi improving on his time. Two Mercedes close together, Emilius ahead of Mauro. Emilius improving. And Banana Josh resetting to the pits. Let's see if I can find some championship standings while we're waiting for qualifying to begin. Still around 5 minutes or so until then. Come on, where is it? It's hiding from me on the Discord channel, unfortunately. League standings, that sounds right. So the league standings as they, well, stand. Joe of the Fire, currently lead. Oh, unfortunately it seems it's not been updated as of round 5. So that's something for the organisers to check in on. But it will be Joe that leads the championship from Sakura and then Taters. That was the top 3 last time we checked. Of course, it was only a week ago that the last race happened, so relatively quick turnaround for the organisers. I'm sure they'll get that all sorted eventually. Go back to my notes. There we go. And of course, race director as well for this series, so that's always good fun, calling safety cars and when peasants need to line up side by side and whatever. All good fun. Any predictions in the chat then as to who we might see win the race? Maybe podium predictions? Quite a strong lineup. We've got the likes of Mauro and Taters in here. Nils as well making their debut. Could they be in for a shout? Emilius as well. Dashi. Banana Josh. Xerxity. Our safety car driver making massive clouds of smoke as he drifts his way down the S's. And of course, championship leader Joe of Fire, who is waiting in the pits as per usual. Oh, a little bit of air there from Mauro as he makes his way down the S's. Evidently that Mercedes may be lacking a little bit in front downforce. It is the newer Mercedes, so that shouldn't be much of an issue. It might just been the way they took that corner. Got to be careful with getting the front tyres off the ground, of course. They're the ones that do the steering. Hello to Dash in chat. That is, of course, Dashi on the circuit, or the pits rather. Saying he's suffering, yeah. It's a bit tricky. There's quite a lot of people in the same car, so GTR split is a thing. We'll see how things go. Mauro currently waiting up, seemingly perhaps give himself a bit of room to set a lap. Might not be able to complete it. We've only got a couple minutes left before the start of qualifying, provided we're not waiting for anyone else. Some more feedback from Dashi in the chat saying that you go on throttle in any gear before third and you get spun around like a ballerina on substance. Interesting stuff. I'd imagine that's especially on the uphill sections. Yeah, you've got to be very careful with your throttle application on the uphill. It has to be quite gradual just to make sure that you don't spin it up, and to always accelerate while in a relatively straight line as well. There's weight transfer and such. coaching with Radish. As it seems qualifying will be getting underway shortly, based on that lobby message. Wish you the best with that, Deshi. As I say, it's going to be just a case of survival, I think. Good drink. Here we go then. Qualifying is live once the cars get moving. Any second now. Myth, our safety car driver on the hards. Why they were sliding about quite a lot. Yes, hello to Myth in the chat. Drifteroo. Indeed. There might be some kind of an error going on here. Yep, Mauro's saying stuck. Right. Now we have had an update recently, and updates tend to break things. So maybe this is just a one-off. Maybe this is going to keep happening. I know it's not really optimistic of me saying that, but I mean, it's the potential reality of these things. Oh, we might have to restart the lobby. We'll see how it goes. It's stuck on 10 minutes. Yeah, it seems that everyone's in the pits waiting, but the counter isn't starting, so no one's able to go out the pits. That seems to be what's happened here. I don't think it's an individual with netcode. Right, Taters has left the lobby, so it seems that we are going to get a new lobby. Hopefully that will work. Oh! Now everyone's left the lobby. Joe has managed to get going. That was odd. Well then, welcome back to the behind the scenes. I think this is the second time this has happened in recent memory. Well, given that Joe was the lobby host, that might have something to do with how he was able to move out on circuit. So it might be an error with the player-to-player connection thing, like some kind of bug going on there. If this keeps being an ongoing issue, the race may have to be delayed a week or so. Hopefully not, but that just be how it is sometimes. EGTC is having a race apparently, hosted by Sick Individuals 8 at the same circuit. There's quite a few things going off there. I have many friends, as you can see. Keep refreshing that. Apologies for the technical difficulties that we're experiencing today. As I say, hopefully this doesn't continue, but the recent update may have done something to this effect. I'm gonna check Discord just to see what's going on. Okay, Joe has a lobby up again. Let's see if there's any news as to what's going on. Lobby back up. Nothing of significance. Sakura might be on their way. That's something that I'm seeing here. So that could be another car added to the grid, provided things start. Thanks for the chat activity anyway, during the down period, it's much appreciated. Here we are then once again at Mount Panorama in New South Wales, Australia. Fantastic circuit. One of my favourite circuits in the game, if I'm honest. It's absolutely awesome, and surprisingly so in a high downforce car, such as a Super Formula or a Le Mans prototype. It's an absolute riot to drive up the mountain in one of those things. Probably a bit dangerous to race in one of them, but like against other cars, but and definitely in real life, a bit insane, but it's fantastic fun to hot lap around here. Honestly, I'd highly recommend going into time trial with a Super Formula or Audi R18 TDI or something along those lines. Maybe even like a Group 2 or something if you're more used to GT cars. Something on the in-between. And just, yeah, hot lapping around here. It is a fantastic experience having downforce at the top of the mountain. Check Discord, I've been told. I shall do so. Ah, right. Hold on. I've got some dealings to do at the moment. Oh, bother search tags. I'm gonna have to see if I can find it. This is going back a bit. Scrolling. Rawhide. Oh, I can't even give a link to the GT website because the GT website's down still. What's happening is the apparent arrangement of a second nuke shot car, if possible. Very last minute, Dashi. I think it's not going to happen, unfortunately. It's very, very short notice. So, yeah, that's understandable. I've been atted in another... Why have I been atted in memes and banter? Of all places to be atted during this particular time. It seems qualifying starting now, so I'm gonna go back to the live stream. That was all a bit chaotic. Right, let's hope things are working. That was the sound. There are cars leaving the pit lane. Qualifying is green. Thank goodness for that. And as per tradition, it is Joe Fire that will be the first out of the pits. These cars making their way up the mountain on their outlaps. Here is TSR Sakura, one of the Team Taters cars. That's a Lexus. Hold on a second, are there... Does that mean there's 3 Team Taters cars? That's a twister and a half. Oh no, Dashy's in the wall. It may just be getting out of the way to give some space themselves. Seems that way. Okay, so there's Dashi, there's Emilius, there's Banana Josh, there's Nils, there's Sakura, there's Mauro, there's Taters, and there's Joe. Someone has changed in all of this, I think, have they? I could have sworn there was another... Xerxity, I think, is the one that's missing now. Yep, no Xerxity. But there are 2 Team Taters cars, so that must be either a strategic decision or something going on there. Let's go on board with Joe of the Fire through all of this madness as we do a lap here at Mount Panorama. Crossing the start-finish line, braking in between the 150 meter marker boards for the first turn, getting it nicely tucked into the inside. There's a bit of banking there that helps, a little bit of run-off as well. Going uphill and then dipping down. That's the first sector done. Coming up to Griffin's Bend. Another one, they really have to tuck it into the inside, otherwise you'll end up into the outside wall if you carry too much speed. And cutting. Nicely done again. Tricky to get on the power on the uphill. This is what I think Dashi was on about earlier. And then this mountain section, threading it through like the eye of a needle. Having to lift just a bit, keep the car stable, lifting again as you go over the crest. Nicely done by Joe using that exit curve, and now down through the S's. Imagine the corkscrew times about 5. Continuing down and then Forest Elbow. Nicely done. Easy to either clip the inside of that corner or understeer into the outside wall, but very nicely done by Joe, as expected. Down Conrod Straight, heading towards the chase. Oh, using a nice bit of extra road there on entry. Braking very nicely for the chase. Oh, misses the apex, so a bit late. Could optimise that on a future lap, we'll see how that goes. And then the final corner. Gotta avoid this inside curve. You want to get close, but not hit it, because you will understeer off if you hit it. And across the line, that's a 201.351 for Joe of the Fire. That's the first lap of this qualifying session. Let's see what Sakura can do. They weren't in the practice, but that's a very impressive first lap at 202.094. Taters and Mauro close together. 203.291 for Mauro. Nils, interestingly, goes up to third provisionally, 202.951. Dashi goes to fifth with a 204.378. 205.463 for Taters as it stands. They now drop to 7th, as moving up to 5th place is the Lamborghini of Banana Josh for Capital. And Emilius going up to 7th. It's a 205.110. We're hearing in the live chat that Xerxes left because he had to do commentary. So that was what was going on there. Fair enough. Joe making their way through the Forest Elbow again. A bit slidey in that Nissan GTR. Has been a bit of a slidey car, I seem to recall, in the stock setup, so tricky for the mountain section, but should be very strong down here in the Conrod Straight. Should be decent on the brakes as well. Seems to get that one hooked a little bit nicer than the previous lap. Will we see anyone go below 2:01 or even a sub 2 minute? It's going to be tricky for Joe this lap. I don't think it's an improvement, no. Seems to oversteer out that last corner, and that could be affecting this lap as well. Not too long a run to the first corner from the start finish, but it will still have an effect. Sakura, meanwhile, improves their time. That's a 201.854 for them. Mauro moves up to third. That's a 202.034. Dashi improves. They're currently 6th. That's a 203.874 for them. Checking in with some of the others. No improvement for Banana Josh that time around. Emilius comes across the line. That is an improvement. It's a 204.411. And Taters, who were 208.4 last time around, I don't think they've really set a representative time. Probably more pace to come from number 27. Near the end of the session, I think it's going to be one lap after this one for these drivers. As I mentioned, it's a very long circuit, long lap, so it's pretty much the opposite of last week at Watkins Glen Short, because there you had quite a lot of opportunity to set fast lap. Here it's very much the opposite. Oh, Joe clipping the grass on the exit of the chase. Not good. Final corner. Avoids that inside curb nicely. It's gonna be close. It's not quite an improvement. This will be his last lap that he's going on to now. Nicely through turn 1. What can Sakura do? No improvement for them. Very close though. Mauro making his way through the last corner, as is Nils behind. It's not looking like an improvement for Mauro. Close to one for Nils, but not quite. Tatus still set a representative time now. That is a 204.158. He's got one more chance at this. They're in a decent bit of clear air, which is nice. Emilius, don't think on a representative lap at the moment. I'll have one more shot at this. Number 73. Oh, kick of oversteer through the final corner. That won't help. Joe descending through the S's. Nicely done. Not incurring that track limit penalty that we saw some get earlier in practice. And now the downhill run on the Conrod Straight. Do we stay in 5th gear? No, he does shift up. Into the chase. This is gonna be interesting to see. He's still pushing by the looks of it, so I say that as soon as he bails for the pits, of course. Typical. Now, does Sakura have any potential answer to that pole time? Gotta find 5/10. Oh, it was a bit ragged over the last section, but it's going to be close. He does get it! Sakura with a 201.202, despite that little bit of a mistake at the last corner. Mauro, oh! Even more slidey through the final corner. I don't think this one's going to be an improvement, no. Nils, no improvement there. Dashi across the line, that is an improvement. I think they stay in the same position though. Just a couple more cars left to go. I think 3 more. Banana Josh, slight improvement. They stay 5th. I don't think it was an improvement for Taters that time, no. They stay 7th. Will Emilius be able to do anything about that? Emilius does improve, and they go up to 7th. Good final lap there by Emilius, getting themselves up in position. But it is TSR Sakura that has taken pole position with a 201.202 here at Mount Panorama. A very impressive time. Didn't quite get into the sub 201s, but with lower fuel, it's perhaps possible in the race. There you see 2 rivals side by side congratulating each other. Maybe just contemplating running each other off the road. Joe slots in behind again. Malro will be P3. Nils P4. Banana Josh impressive P5 with that Lamborghini. P6 for Dashi. 7th place on the grid for Emilius, and Taylor's will be in 8th. So 8 cars, that's a minimum of 3 points for every finisher. And a lot more at stake, of course, with the higher margin of points as the further up the field you go. So well done to Sakura. They get the first point of this particular weekend, the point for pole position. Will they be able to convert that pole into a victory? We shall see. Well done, Dashi. They see in chat. Not last. Not even second to last, as Jeremy Clarkson would say. Very solid stuff. Wishing you the best. Here are your results then for qualifying. A 201.202 is your pole position time. Congratulations once again to TSR Sakura for that result. And of course our safety car driver, it was there as well, just stayed in the pits. So despite the horde of Nissans, as well as Mercedes, it's actually a Lexus that is at the top of the timing sheets. Interesting stuff. If you're enjoying the live stream, be sure to leave a like and consider subscribing for the rest of the season. Left has been chosen by Sakura, our pole sitter. So the race will be getting underway shortly, based on all that. Never mind, Amelia says, be right back. Fair enough. Beverage of choice, as I mentioned earlier, is a shandy today in the Nuke Shot Broadcast Centre. Good stuff. Good stuff. So a reminder, 26 laps. That's the equivalent of 100 miles. Weather is expected to remain sunny. Let's check this weather radar. It's not enabled for this particular circuit, but here you see. New feature added in this particular update. There you see Mount Panorama. You can zoom out. No weather at all. Unfortunately, we don't seem to be able to check that mid-race without exiting to this particular menu. Maybe someone will figure something out with that in the future with keyboard controls, but at the moment it's beyond my technical ability, like most things. Safety car driver making a pit stop of their own. Gonna check in on the Discord once again. A new driver in the market. Okay. I might have to check that out at the moment, because some unfortunate news is that driver TSR Swablu has unfortunately had to withdraw from the remainder of the season. Very understandably so. I won't get into details. But that has put the Nuke Shot team one driver short, unfortunately. Bear wasn't able to show up today, unfortunately, but Dashi has, who was of course our reserve driver, promoted to full-time after Swablu's withdrawal. But I will definitely look up that new driver in the market. Once this is all over. Okay, we're about to get things started here with the formation lap, so I better get my procedures and stuff up again. Formation lap, 80 miles an hour, single file, and 2 car length gaps. Ah, the fun. Go do a quick replay check. That's functioning A-OK. Thanks again to Myth, our safety car driver, in the SRF Mercedes. Oh dear, pardon me. So of course I posted a TSR Sakura. There they are, followed by Joe of the Fire, Maro, and Nils, Banana Josh, and Dashi, Emilius, and Taters rounds off the grid. So it will be the left-hand side as to where the posters go. I've got some images up here for reference. Thankfully, with the long lap, I've got a lot of time to prep all this. Into the S as they go, hopefully no one dies an unexpected death. Though that'd be tricky because it's almost expected around this section. Any predictions in the live chat, be sure to let me know. All about that fan engagement. Coming up to the point where the safety car will drive away shortly. Yep, safety car is driving off. And double file odds left. They're still bunching up just a little bit. Here we go then. The Bathurst 100, round 6 of the Capital GT Championship season is about to get underway, and Sakura leads them off. It is green, 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 and the cars are off. As, oh, someone's gone to Narnia straight away. That is a Capital Mercedes. I think that's Mauro. That has gone straight on, and Dashi as well. What has happened here? Was that a multiple car incident? We're checking this. It seems Mauro's just outbroke himself. And then what on earth happened with Dashi? Seems to be a first corner bit of netcode there, unfortunately. Hopefully things settle down a bit. No one typed in the chat, as far as I know, so I think we keep going. It's a tricky one. It's currently Sakura that leads from Joe and Banana Josh. Mills currently 4th. Taters has managed to find their way up the order to 5th. Amelia 6th. Mauro 7th. Dashi 8th as it stands. I'm gonna check the chat just in case there was something. No. I'm a bit torn by that now. It's a bit late. If I were to call it now, it's... I don't know. Banana Josh has found their way up to 3rd. There's no call in the chat, so I'm gonna say we keep going. Yeah, Banana Josh up to 3rd, that's the impressive start by them. The top 2 have definitely broken away at this point. Mills close behind in 4th place. Sakura and Joe into the S's for the 2nd time at racing speed. Sakura with a 1 second gap over Joe. Joe will just about have some slipstream. Won't be too much, as there's a little bit of battling again as Taters passes Nils. Let's see if we can catch that one. Here it was a bit opportunistic, a bit of onion barges to get through, but manages to do so. Nils with a bit of slipstream it seems, and side by side further back as well. Nils will go to the outside for the chase. Bit more contact, and he's got a 0.5 second penalty. Nils has gone off the circuit, as there's a little bit more squabbling ahead. Mauro in 5th as it stands. Emilius up to 6th. So Nils being shuffled out just a little bit. Joe seems to have closed in a smidge. Gap is around 0.5 of a second, but they're coming up to the section of circuit that's almost impossible to pass at. And it's going to be in plenty of dirty air as well. So this is all playing into Sakura's hands for now, unless Joe is fuel saving a bit. Seems he's burning a bit more fuel than Sakura as it stands. Oh, what has happened there? What's happened here? Is that a single car incident? Right, seems like it. Yeah, Emilius just lost it on the curb. Really unfortunate mistake. Easy done, to be fair, so the car can ground out a bit through there. And that's allowing Dashi to catch up in the nuke shot Nissan. Number 47. The gap 0.6 of a second between Sakura and Joe. Closing down. I don't think Joe's going to be close enough going into the chase. We'll see how it goes. Banana Josh still holding on to third meanwhile. That GTO very strong on the brakes compared to the Lexus. Closes right up. Going to be close going into this final corner. Sakura faking almost into the pit lane. We're expecting a one-stop strategy. It is a mandatory requirement to do minimum one stop. Purple lap then by Joe of the Fire. Ron Josh still holding on to third, Mauro fourth, Taylor's fifth. Emilius and Dashi still close together as well, Dashi closing in. And again, Joe not seemingly close enough going into Griffin's Bend. Closer than last time, but not close enough. Maybe just trying to put some pressure onto Sakura. Up the hill they go. The hill? The mountain? Quite a steep hill. Mara, meanwhile, has found their way up into third, so let's see if we can check that out. That may have been a deliberate swap between the two Capital teammates. We've unfortunately missed that one. But that has happened. Now Mauro sets off in pursuit of the leaders. Bernard Josh 4th, Taylor's 5th. Milton 6th. Emilius in 7th has got a little bit more of a gap over Dashi now. Chasing their way through. Sakura, meanwhile, 1.3 is the gap between them and Joe. Joe not having the best of mountain sections on that occasion. All those arrows spinning at the forest elbow keeps making me think someone's crashed. Not the case. As I think there's some nearly side-by-side running here. Further back. Emilius is going to have to defend. Here we are, rear wing cam on Emilius' car. The 7th and 8th place. Just monitoring the rest of the standings. I don't think Dash is going to be quite close enough unless he's very brave on the brakes. Emilius defends the inside. Might run wide as a result. Holds on to it for now. Oh, what's happened here? Something else has gone on. I'm gonna have to get a replay of that shortly. Again, these two just crossing over lines. Seems there may have been some kind of incident between Banana Josh and Taters. Is there going to be a move into Griffin's Bend? Close? Not quite. Okay, let's see what's happened. So Banana Josh was in 5th at this point. He's lost a position there by himself. That might have been after the incident then. I did set a replay marker quite early-ish on, like pretty much as soon as he started typing. can't really judge anything based on that. Meanwhile, the battle for the lead, Joe was a lot closer this time around. Sakura with a personal best and overall best fastest lap last time as well, though. As a response, oh, they clipped that inside curve that could unsettle the car. Joe with seemingly a little bit better of an exit. Looking to the outside of the final corner as Sakura goes defensive. Joe trying to cross it back up. It's a bit like a street circuit, this sort of section of the lap. Going into turn 1. Oh, bit of lag. Sakura as well getting a bit out of shape. Here we are on board with Joe's car. That Nissan goes side by side. Sakura's still defensive. Joe's going to be ahead, but on the outside line. Will it be enough? You can make moves around the outside here. Joe seemingly not able to make that one stick. Into the cutting they go. All about traction. And that Lexus looks a little bit stronger on that uphill for traction. A bit further back, just checking some of these gaps. Nilsson, Banana, Josh quite close together. Emilius has got a bit more of a gap over Dashi by this point. But besides that, this is definitely the closest battle on circuit. As things stand, through the S's they go, pressuring each other. Once again, Joe will have the slipstream. Will it be the stand defense by Sakura? Going to the inside. If there's a noticeable overspeed, of course, you're not allowed to weave within a certain distance. At least by the SRF rulebook. Mainly just a safety thing, but you are allowed to break slipstream if there isn't an overspeed. Joe seems content to hang back for now. Perhaps just keeping the downforce on his car at this stage to maybe mount another challenge into Griffin's Bend. Towards turn 1 again. A decent chunk through this race. Oh, Sakura, bit of a mistake again. That's the second lap in a row that they've done that. They lost momentum. Joe's not going to be close enough to make a move, but they are going to be closing in. As all, Sakura a little bit over that exit curve. We saw Emilius be spat out by that curve earlier. Through the mountain section once again. Look how close Sakura got to the wall on that occasion. Insanely close. Going on board once again with Joe's car. The Simpact number 99 Nissan. Into the S as they go, in hot pursuit. Sakura very strong through that middle section. Able to get a bit of a gap. 6 tenths or so, just gone up to around 7 or 8 tenths even. Can't quite shake Joe off. That'll be concerning for Sakura. Joe is constantly gaining time back by being in the slipstream range, and Sakura can't seem to break that. Meanwhile, while all this is happening, Mauro has managed to set the fastest lap of the race. That is a 201.444. So they're making inroads to this battle, it would seem. 6.8 seconds behind. And 5 tenths improvement there by Joe of the Fire for that lap. Close, but not quite. That seems to be the story at the moment. Maybe he's saving something for the final part of the race. Mauro still with that 6.8 second gap, but they've cleared Taylor's by a bit. As we see side by side, Taylor's and Nils. Nils seemingly having a very good run out of that first corner. Taylor's slotting back in, trying to get some slipstream, looking to make a very late dive bomb. Side by side they go, and I think Taylor's has got that one done very nicely. Here it was, there you see him slot back into the slipstream, and then moving to the inside, very nicely done. So Taylor's up into 4th place, Nils down to 5th, and Josh still recovering. They're in 6th, Amelia 7th, and Dashi in 8th. The lead gap just over 0.5 of a second. Tell you what, that Lexus RCF makes a fantastic noise. It's an underrated engine in terms of sound. Be interesting to see what Toyota Corporation's next GT3 car will be. We've of course seen that in development over the course of this year over at the Fuji Speedway circuit. Clipping a little bit of grass, but not enough to break traction. Another personal best lap by Sakura that time. Joe is seemingly a decent bit closer. Oh, bit sideways, might just be netcode. Joe is going to be very close this time, I think. Let's go on board for this. Joe of the Fire closing in, Sakura defending the inside once again. Joe with the overspeed draws level. Has to back out of it. But with the cutback, oh look at this! The sneaky. Is it the big sneaky? I don't quite think so. Oh, a little bit of a sneaky nudge on the back of Sakura. I'm sure that's unintentional. Sakura maintaining the place regardless. Being informed that Joe is still there. Joe closing in again. That gap between these two and Maro's closing in as well. 6.2 seconds now. Joe currently with the fastest lap of the race, 201.385. Into the S as they go once again. That's the section that you can get a corner cutting penalty at. Seemingly Sakura a little bit braver through that section compared to Joe. Able to get the gap back up again to around 0.6 of a second. Maro nearly breaking that 6-second barrier between himself and the top two. Pretty much by himself on circuit though, as it stands. Nils and Banana Josh seemingly getting a bit close together. It was a 204.808 last time around for Nils, compared to a 202.689 for Banana Josh. So the Lamborghini is closing in. Remember, they probably fell down the order a bit after what we believe to be an incident with Taylor's based on the live lobby chat. Oh, he ran a little bit wide though through that final corner, clipping the grass. Took a bit of lawn mowing. Holding up for now. Battle for the lead. 0.3, 0.4 of a second still. Just the slightest mistake for either of these two. That's all it takes. We're coming up to around the halfway mark of the race, so pit stops could be imminent for some of these. And given how perceivingly low the tyre wear is around here, we might see some undercuts. Just to see if there can be a little bit of an advantage gained from that. It seems that it's viable for some of these guys. Tire wear, yeah, that is surprisingly low for a lot of these. Banana Josh, of course, in the Lamborghini wearing out his rear tyres quite a bit. Dare I say you could even make a pit stop just for fuel and potentially gain a bit of track position that way. Interesting to see if that one will work. A bit of a gap has developed now, 1 second between Sakura and Joe. Maro still around that 6-second marker behind those two. Taters into the chase. Nicely held. All bits of sideways action there for Nils behind. As Banana Josh continues to close in. Of course, it's Banana Josh's home race here for the Australian. And we could be seeing the crowd going wild for an overtake. It's going to be close. I don't think it'll be enough this time around, but they're continuing to close in. They're well into the slipstream range of the Subaru of Nils. Oh, something else I've just noticed is Dashi has got ahead of Emilius. Unfortunately, we've missed that. Seems to be a mistake on lap 10 for Emilius that has swapped those positions around, so a 10-second gap between those two. Here we are watching Nils, trying to stay close to Taters as well. If he can get into Taters' slipstream, that'll allow him to defend a bit better from Banana Josh. Down through the S as they go once again. Subaru should be quite planted through it. Oh, very sideways for Taters. That was a massive mistake and he's lost a lot of time. Needs to get back into rhythm, but Nils is going to be all over the back of him. Not a good exit for Taters either. As Banana Josh, what's happened to him? He seems to have lost a bit of ground. We're going to check in on that shortly. Just make sure we catch this. Nils going for the overtake. Does Taters challenge him back? Looks like he is doing. As that's a car off the circuit. I think he's going to let him go by. Is he? No, he's bailing for the pits anyway. Right, let's see what happened here with Banana Josh. Okay, so we're here. Now, again, I did click that. That's by himself. That is by himself. Why is he trying to call a safety car for that? That's odd. Battle for the lead, meanwhile. Oh, Joe has managed to get ahead of Sakura. Apologies for that one. Oh, we've managed to catch this. Side by side through the mountain section. Round the outside. Awesome stuff by Joe. Perhaps that was caused by a lack of traction for the Lexus of Sakura. On the uphill section, Joe able to get a bit of a better run. Really impressive stuff there by Joe. Now let's see if he can make any progress. We're at around the halfway marker. Will Sakura be able to retaliate? It's going to be close going into the chase. Sakura looks to the inside. Will be the outside for the second part. Round the outside goes Sakura. Oh, there's a little bit more contact, is there? They both stay on the road. And Sakura retakes the place. Nicely done. That was very decisive. More decisive than we've seen Joe attempt in previous laps. So it seems that Sakura does seem to have a bit of a pace advantage as also evidenced by the fastest lap of the race, now breaking the 2-minute 1 barrier with a 2-minute .966. Gotta be careful with that exit curve again. Car could easily bottom out. Banana Josh into the pits. We'll see where they rejoin in relation to Taters, who's already stopped. The Nuke Shot crew also getting ready for Dashi. There is Taters. The undercut seemingly working quite nice for them. The Lamborghini leaving the pits. Oh, nearly hits the outside wall on exit there. It gets out. They're currently behind Amelius, who's yet to stop. The Nuke Shot crew fueling the green machine up. And out the pits they go. Plenty of clear air. Some random person has joined the lobby. Don't know what's up with that. And now things are back to how they sort of were, around 0.5 of a second between Joe and Sakura. Morrow still 6 seconds behind both of them. Nils currently in 4th. Taylor's in 5th. Interesting, these guys are still staying out. They're happy with the tyre wear. This, I'm guessing, is to do with trying to be on as low a fuel load as possible for as long as possible, is what they're trying to do here. So they're going for effectively an overcut. It's an interesting call, as the random has left the lobby. Nils goes into the pits, so we'll watch to see where they rejoin. Then it will just be the top 3, I think, that are yet to pit. Oh, and Amelius, I think, as well. Some sparks being thrown up as well. Not too sure if we're going to get any night running for this race. Sort of evening running-ish, maybe. It's sort of late afternoon at the moment. As there's a 1.5 second penalty for Nils, that is going to be track limits. I'm pretty sure we have the pit line penalties off, so that's the only thing it can be, is track limits. That's going to hurt their chances. They'll be serving that at the start of Conrad Straight. That's going to allow their teammate Amelius to catch up, but Amelius surely is going to have to pit soon anyway. Banana Josh maintaining 7th place as things stand, very close to the outside wall through there. And through Griffin's Bend goes Dashi. Sparks being thrown up as the underfloor hits the curb. 1.2 seconds the gap between first and second. That's the largest it's been for quite a while. Morrow goes for the pits. They think it's about time that they can use an undercut opportunity. When they came into the pits, they were around 5.6 seconds behind Joe, so they were gaining a little bit. And now, will the top 2 be in a hurry to respond to that, or will they keep going? Something else that's interesting is how the top 2 have managed to save fuel compared to a lot of the cars further down. Bit of side-by-side running there as Nils serves his penalty. But yeah, compare that to like Amelius here, quite low on fuel. They stay out for one more lap, it seems. A significant fuel saving for the top 2, and surprisingly enough from Sakura, given they've spent most of this race in the lead. Normally it's the car behind in the slipstream that's able to save more fuel. Oh, starting to get a little bit slidey in places for Zhou in that Nissan. 1.3 seconds the gap between the two of them. Do they pit now to cover Maro off? We'll have to see. They're coming up to that point. There's a couple cars very close as well in the cutting. Do they go for the pit? Sakura does. It seems that Zhou is following. Into the pits they go. Here is the two, well, here are the two that are close together. It is Emilius and Nils still. So Emilius ahead. Seems to clip the wall just a little bit. And with Sakura saving fuel, that's going to be extra time gained over Zhou if they fuel up to the same amount. Oh, more sidewaysness. Slide McGee from Emilius. Jack Wilkinson there, kneeling down with his camera. He will have caught a good angle of that. Sakura fueling up to 49 litres, Zhou up to 58. What is the gap as it stands? It's closer to 3 seconds. Indeed, 3 seconds between Sakura and Zhou. That fuel saving has paid off massively for Sakura. Zhou's going to have to work really hard if he's going to catch that gap up. 5.4 is the gap between Zhou and Mauro. So Mauro, with that slight undercut, has managed to make that work a bit. Their tyres will also be up to temperature compared to Zhou's, as Nils up to 5th as Emilius goes into the pits. Will they rejoin? It seems that Bernard and Josh has already gone by, yep. They've gone through. And here comes Dashi towards the final corner. Across the line they go. Now where is Emilius? Here they are. They've fueled up now and they're exiting. They're going to be quite a way behind Dashi. And they've got a 1 second penalty. That seemed to flash like it was only just applied, so I'm going to guess that was on pit entry that they were given a penalty, perhaps cutting the corner there or something along those lines. Well, they've got a 1 second penalty. They'll be serving that at the Conrad Straight. So Dashi resumes in 7th place, as I believe everyone has made their mandatory pit stop at this stage. Wind speed, that's something we haven't talked about yet, as, oh, the crosswind nearly catching out Banana Josh on that occasion. I think that was more the weight adjustment through the S's. It's a tailwind down Conrad Straight, a headwind for the Mountain Straight after turn 1. So it's in theory making passing and slipstreaming a bit stronger for the Mountain Straight. A bit more difficult for Conrad. 3.6, 3.7, 3.8 and increasing is the gap between the top two. Sakura ahead of Zhou. 5.3 the gap between Zhou and Mauro. What were their last lap times? It's I can't really gauge because that was an outlap by Zhou. Okay, we'll keep an eye on that for later, but it seems that Mauro, now that Zhou is not in the slipstream of Sakura, Mauro is able to close in on Zhou a lot faster. That could be closer towards the end of the race, a battle for 2nd and 3rd. Taylors in number 27, they are making their way through the cutting. And the uphill section, nicely done. Nils in that Subaru, and a solid debut for them. Now, personal best lap last time around at 2:02.654. They're currently in 5th place. Will Banana Josh be able to catch back up to Nils? Remember, he was gaining on Nils for quite a while, but then made that mistake. And seems to have made a little bit more of a mistake there, just going into that wall. Again, we'll be thankful that mechanical damage is not enabled for this series. That's mainly just because of the netcode levels at the time. Things have, I'd say, improved significantly since then. I was even in a multi-class race the other day. Make sure to check out that live stream that happened on Sunday. The Sunday that's just gone. It was a very entertaining race in which I was driving as an invitational entry. So thanks again to them for that. Was that DGTS? I think it was. Yep, the Digital GT Series. That was a very nice opportunity to race there on the Tokyo Expressway, south counterclockwise. All the cars are relatively spread out. We're into the final stages of this race. Joe has actually gained a bit on Sakura. How much of that is going to be down to Sakura managing the gap compared to Joe closing in the clear air? Difficult to call. Sakura will know that they're close to the end. It's a bit early in order to be lifting off at this stage. Joe with a green sector there, so they're on track for a personal best lap. Maybe they have just found a bit more rhythm by not directly chasing a car that's like 1 second ahead. With a little bit more breathing room, Joe able to concentrate. And that gap is closing in just a bit. 2:01.3 last time around, compared to a 2:01.9 for Sakura, and a 2:01.9 before that for them as well. 2:01.7 for Mara. They lost a little bit of time compared to Joe on that last lap. Taylor's with a 35-second advantage. Mara with a 35-second advantage over Taylor's. 3.5 seconds back is Nils. There's a bit of cloud cover now over Mount Panorama. That'll be dropping the temperatures a bit. Perhaps that's also favouring certain cars. Three seconds that gap between Taylor's and Nils. 7 seconds between Nils and Banana Josh. Seems to have clipped that grass on the outside again. Personal best lap time around for them at 2:02.624. Let's compare that. Both of these cars then set a personal best last time around. It was a gain of just under a tenth for Nils that lap, but these two very close on pace as it stands. It's been 2:05s for Dashi at the moment. They've got nothing really to realistically push for, given that there's 23 seconds to the car ahead and 17 to the car behind, so they're not really under any pressure. I say that as they get a little bit slidey through Griffin's Bend. I think they were tuning into the live stream earlier, so they may still be listening in, I don't know. Dashi, please. There is no pressure. Bring the car home. It's good points for the team. All much appreciated. He does a good job. Emilius making his way through the cutting. Ooh, very slidey again. Bit trigger happy with the throttle. Could also just be how the stock setup is for the Mercedes, a bit slidey in that sense. Good if you can control the slides, but can lead to some rear tyre wear issues, of course. They're currently green as they make their way through the S's on their lap time, so looking to be a personal best if they can keep it up, which will be a 2:03 by that reckoning. Banana Josh seems to have lost a couple tenths. It's a little bit shaky again. That Lamborghini is a really tricky car to drive. It can be a leaderboard car, but it's very much on a knife edge in terms of balance. So well done to Banana Josh for keeping that thing as under control as they have been. Mills seems to be closing in a little bit, are they, on Taters? 2:02.711 last time around, compared to a 2:03.2 dead. So Taters has 2 seconds of a margin over Mills, 2.1 now, seemingly a bit better through that section of circuit. Now that's probably the closest battle on track as it stands, as it's going to get a lot closer. That is a 1 second penalty for Taters, and he's going to be serving that shortly. Well, game on for 4th place. If you're enjoying the live stream, be sure to leave a like and consider subscribing for the rest of the season. Taters serves the penalty. Here comes the Subaru. Could make a Hollywood ghetto rally joke here, but I shall refrain from doing so. Not quite close enough for the Subaru of Mills. Maybe into the final corner. Not quite. I think the smart thing to do would be to try and set something up going out of this first corner and see if you can use that headwind at the mountain straight. Look, Taters is going defensive. This is going to compromise their run through there, as they're a bit slidey again. Slide McGee moments through the first corner. Slipstream for the Subaru. Taters goes to the defensive line. Will there be enough overspeed for the Subaru? I don't quite think there will be, unless something miraculous happens. Mills looking to go round the outside, not quite. Tries to get the car straightened up for a cutback. Can't quite get that one done either. But he's definitely let Taters know that he's there. And the pressure's going to be on in these final few laps. Thanks to those that have been tuning in for this race. Very much appreciated. Those active in chat as well. Got a fascinating conclusion there for the final step before the podium. 4th place. Valuable points still. Especially when it comes to the Teams Championship. I'd imagine that Turn 1 and Team Taters are relatively close on there. It seems that Taters has got a little bit more of a gap this time around, but the gap will be closing in with the slipstream once again. Let's check in on the battle for the lead. 1.6 seconds. 1.7. A little bit shaky from Sakura. Last lap was a 2:02.022. Many twos, many zeros. 2:01.664 for Joe. So he's definitely been gaining in these latter stages. And I think he's going to be very close to slipstream range, getting towards the Conrod Straight this time around. Gotta hope that Sakura doesn't have too strong of a section through the S's. Here we are on board with Sakura. This is the section where they seem to gain quite a bit over Joe. And indeed they have done again. Rear wing cam. There you see the Nissan in the background menacing. Very strong exit by the Lexus, going out of the Forest Elbow and onto the Conrod Straight. Joe just outside of meaningful slipstream. But we'll keep closing in. Not long to go. Been a fascinating duel throughout with those two. Same can be said here with Taters and Nils. Nils has closed back up again. Taters a bit later on the brakes. Nicely done by both of these. Jack Wilkinson seemingly putting his camera down there, just admiring it with his eyes rather than through the camera lens. You don't often see that. Into slipstream once again goes Nils. Won't be close enough this time around. But Taylor's unable to shake Nils off. That could be crucial going into the final stages, as there's some more closeness going off here, is there? Under a second, just momentarily, between Sakura and Joe. And now Joe, I think, has hit the dirty air range, where he's struggling to make further inroads. We saw earlier that Sakura was able to get back past Joe with relative ease. I say relative, it was round the outside, but in terms of having a decent enough overspeed in order to make a confident move, Sakura and that Lexus seemingly had a bit of an advantage. And Joe seemingly can't do much in response as it stands. The pressure is still there. Just one slip up from either of these two, and it is victory or defeat. 1 second the gap between Taters and Nils. Through the mountain section they go. That Nissan looking very strong again. Getting a bit more of a gap. That's a personal best sector. On track for a personal best lap for Taters. 2:04.0 last time for Taters. 2:04 also 0.0 for Nils last time around. So dead equal on pace. But I think Nils is just out of meaningful slipstream range. That could be very costly. Taters is starting to break away. Will car 62 of Nils be able to make a challenge into the final stages of this one? Find out on the next episode of Capital Z. I don't know. No commercials here, besides the ones that I mentioned during the live stream, of course. Shandy being the beverage of choice here today for the Nuke Shop Broadcast Centre. Good stuff. That'll keep me going for the final stages of this one. 1.5 laps left for the leaders. That gap has gotten significantly closer. Joe mounting a challenge in the final stages of this one. I was not foreseeing this. Look at that, 0.4 of a second is the gap. Going onto the Conrad straight. Closing in. Will Joe have enough? Has he been holding back this whole time? Lulling Sakura into a false sense of security? Into the chase? Not quite there. Seemingly a bit of a better line by Joe. Sakura caught the inside curve a bit, led to a smidge of understeer. Through the final corner. Joe is going to be extremely close. Here we go then, the final lap of the race here for the Bathurst 100, round 6 of the Capital GT Championship. And it's all come down to this. Sakura, 0.5 ahead of Joe. Maro seemingly not a threat at this point, 9.8 the gap between them and these two. Joe not close enough going into Griffin's Bend. Gonna quickly check in on Nils and Taylors. That is 0.8 of a second. That battle's not over. Can Sakura hold it together? The pressure as they go through the uphill section. So easy to spin up the tyres through there and lose a lot of time. But they're managing well. They avoid hitting the outside wall. And now into the S's for the final time of asking. We're going on board with Joe of the Fire. Going for broke. Sakura, an extremely strong section through the middle of the S's on that occasion. The gap's up to nearly a second. Joe, kick of oversteer on exit. They've lost a bit of time there. Joe is a bit far back for my liking. Going to have to be scent of the century if he's going to get this one done. I think he might have to settle for this unless Sakura makes a mistake. Joe is closing in. Sakura does clip the inside of the chase, but manages to get away with it. One corner left. Does Sakura have it? And it is going to be TSR Sakura taking the win here for round 6 of the Capital GT Championship at Mount Panorama. Congratulations to them and a fantastic drive and battle at the end there between them and Joe of the Fire. Mauro does indeed take a respectable 3rd place and that final step on the podium. But the battle continues. Nils is actually ahead of Taylors at this point. What has happened here? Taylor's looking to go to one side, will be the inside for the first part of the chase. Outside for the second. Does Nils manage to hold on around the outside? They're level going into the chase. Nils with the inside. Do they run off? They run deep. Taylors goes back through. Heartbreak for Nils. It is going to be Taylors taking 4th place in the end. Nils is going to have to settle for 5th. Here it was again. Nils on that inside line, just braking that smidge too late. Ran out of road onto the grass. And Taylors manages to find their way through to 4th place. Great battle between both of them in the closing stages of that. Banana Josh takes home 6th place. Emilius manages to get up to 7th, it seems. And 8th place for Dashi. Those two are quite close together at the moment. Not sure what's happened with Dashi. Maybe a mistake on this lap? It seems like that may have been the case. They're quite low on fuel actually. I think that might be it. Did they have to save a massive amount of fuel? But it's going to be Emilius that takes 7th place. Dashi has to settle for 8th. Dashi will probably tell me in the live chat as to what happened there. Nevertheless, that is points on the board. The most points on the board goes to Sakura of Team Taylors. Congratulations to them. That is a perfect weekend, if I'm not mistaken. Pole position, 1st place, and fastest lap. That is a total of 20 points from this race. And they ran out of fuel on the cooldown lap. That is how perfectly judged that one was. Well done to car number 1 and TSR Sakura. Commiserations to Joe, but another fantastic effort by them to get 2nd place. That will most likely keep them at the top of the overall championship standings. And Mauro for Capital taking the final step on the podium on this occasion. What a race that was! There it is then. Pole position and a clean race bonus as well. Just as if it couldn't get any better. Let's save the replay of that one. Need a thumbnail. Here are your results then in the end of things. TSR Sakura with a 2-minute point 878 as the fastest lap of the race in the end of it. The only car to break the 2-minute 1 barrier. They take first place by just over a second from Joe of the Fire. And Maro was 11 seconds back in the end, but still third place. Taters takes fourth place on this occasion. Solid result for them. Nils in fifth on what I believe is their season debut. At least I don't recall them racing earlier this season, but I might be wrong on that. Banana Josh sixth for their home race, unfortunately. But it was a strong showing, especially earlier on. Emilius managing to take seventh in the end of this, ahead of Dashi in eighth. That seemingly happened on the last lap of the race. Thanks again, of course, to our safety car driver, who's still running, apparently. Much appreciated. Thanks to you for being on standby. What a race that was. We hope you've enjoyed it. And be sure to tune in for the next race of the championship, Capital GT Championship. That is going to be at Fuji Speedway on October 7th. So that'll be, another week's time? Yep, 1 week's time or so. So be sure to like and consider subscribing, and make sure you have your notifications set to all. That way you're notified when we go live for that next race at Fuji. So once again, thanks to everyone here who's been competing, been in the live chat. From all of us here at the Capital GT Championship and Nookshot Media, I've been Zokio, and we hope to see you in a week's time. From all of us, it's goodbye.